for me, so it started with a bad incident that I got badly beat up in Rat Mines many years ago, and sort of went into it. I would describe it now, looking back, as like almost like a mini depression. Like, I was a couple of months, I didn't want to leave my house. I was terrified walking around. You know, I'd hear a car horn going, and I'd be so nervous.
Did you get attacked?
Yeah. I was walking through Rat Mines with my then girlfriend, and I saw a guy getting fairly lit up. So I not stupidly, I stepped in anyway, trying to stop it.
Yeah.
And there was 4 or 5 guys, and they turned to me, and I got a fairly good L kicking.
Wow.
The guy got away, so I guess I was successful with that, but unsuccessful with defending myself. And
now that you're like a champ, do you like stalk around Rat Mines looking for those guys?
I might be there with a mask, you know.
Vigilante.
There's all just hipsters in Rat Mines now. They're just drinking coffee and stuff now. Yeah.
Tackling baristas. Is that almond milk? Why do you want to call me? We just pulling the fat milk.
So did that inspire you then? You thought, what?
Yeah, so I made a decision. I said to myself, okay, well, I can spend the rest of my life in my bedroom, or I can try and get my confidence back, try and learn some self-defense. So I started looking around at different ways of fighting, and then I came across UFC 1, and what really stood out for me in that was that the guy who won it, Hoist Gracie, he was much smaller than everybody that he was fighting. And it looked it was very repeatable what he was doing. It wasn't like he just closed his eyes and he swung his arms and he knocked the guy out, and he'd be like, oh, well, I guess you roll the dice. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. He had a very systematic approach, very step by step. And he was just able to beat guys regardless of weight difference. And
you felt that you could learn that. And
yeah, it looked doable. Yeah. And he looked very... He reminded me a little bit of me. He was just kind of sort of quiet. He was meek, and he was going against these guys that looked phenomenal, you know, that looked, you know, very scary. And he was able to tie them up in knots in seconds and without getting hurt. And I was like, whoa, I want to learn that.
Because UFC was still pretty underground back then, like.
Oh yeah. So that was in 97, 98, and the first UFC was in 93. So it took 3 or 4 years for those VHS tapes to get to.
I remember hearing about it. One of the guys on Friends tried to join, and everyone was appalled by how insane it looked.
Yes,
but obviously not. You loved it. That's for me.
Yeah. So now when you say it like that, I sound like a weirdo. But,
no, it's fully acceptable. But like nowadays, everybody knows about the UFC. Everybody knows about MMA.
Yes.
How like when you started here, was there many people doing it around, like, or?
No.
Was there a club even?
There wasn't a club. There was nobody teaching. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is kind of like the core martial art that I focus on, and there was nobody doing it in Ireland. I was lucky that I got to meet somebody, Andy Ryan, that runs Team Rhino over the north side, and he was a very high-level judo player. And judo wouldn't be a million miles away from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It'd be a lot of common techniques.
Okay.
And so he was able to teach me a lot of grappling back in the early days. And then a lot of traveling and reading, and you know, there's no YouTube. I was cutting pictures out of magazines, and my brother, that's kind of known, James Kavanagh, I kind of would grab his arm and I'd twist it till he screamed, and I go, oh, that's a move, and I'd write that down.
It's not fair to pick on him now. He's not a big guy, you know.
So poor James, you were doing the moves on James then.
I needed a body, and there was no one else around, so I would just manipulate him till he screamed, and then I go, there we go, that's technique. So it was a very slow learning process, but got there in the end. I think I've had about 15 fights.
Yeah.
All in all, like, just back in the day, it wasn't massively regulated, and there wasn't like websites, and internet hadn't been created yet, and so I think I have on like official, I've had about 6 or 7, but like I said, every Friday night was kind of fight night in my gym, and then I travel.
They intrigue me, like, you know, I'm thinking, like, is it like that film Warrior, like, where the boys were fighting in car parks kind of job?
But it's funny because I was the same. So like UFC now, or MMA, the sport is called, is heavily like, it's regulated, and there's weight classes and very strict rule sets, and it's just a sport now. But certainly in the early days, it was more of a, I won't say freak show, but it was more of a spectacle.
Yeah.
You know, no weight classes, and you show up in the night, and I was supposed to fight you, but you pull out, and I end up fighting this guy, and it's like, all right, well, fuck it, you know, let's go.
Ring that bell.
And to be honest, that's the side that I loved about it, because you had such difference in skill sets. Like you might be a really good boxer, but have never fought on the ground in your life.
Yeah.
You might be very good at kicks, you know. So whereas now it's sort of somewhat universal, you know, everybody can kickbox, everybody can wrestle, everybody can do jiu-jitsu, or else you just don't get very far. But back then it was, you'd have a guy like with 20 years kung fu experience, and you're like, well, is he going to do a death touch? You know, he'd be grabbing you by the neck. And,
a death touch? I wouldn't get into the same car park as him.
It was exciting times.
Okay.
So the first Irish UFC fighter was a guy called Tom Egan, and he fought in UFC 93 way back in the day.
Wow.
And he used to train with this particularly loud kid, Conor McGregor. I think Tom would sort of show him some. Tom came from more like kickboxing background. Conor came from kind of a strict boxing background. So they went to school together.
Okay.
And they would, at break time, spar each other.
Have a knock.
Have a knock. And Conor would show him some boxing techniques, and he would show Conor some kickboxing techniques. And then Tom said, oh, you got to come down to this gym and meet this guy. And so, yeah, I guess that was a while ago, 15, 16 years ago. And
had you any idea, like, did this guy stand out to you?
So it was very small back then. The scene was very small.
Yeah.
My gym was very small. We're at about probably not far off 600 members of this gym now, and back then, like, I had maybe 70 members, 65 members, 70 members. So it was very, very small. So if someone comes in with like this bundle of energy that he always had and he still has, and you can hear him for half an hour before you see him, and the jokes, and you know, there's always there's always a lot happening when Conor enters a room. Okay. So that side stuck out, because I'm like a kind of a quiet person, and you know, you're kind of like, who the hell is this guy? And he's got a comment for everybody. But definitely right from early on, it was clear that he had a slightly different way of looking at things and thinking about things, and a very obsessive personality about certain moves. You know, I'd show a move one week, and then maybe a couple of weeks later I'd show it slightly different, and he'd say, well, 14 days ago you showed that different. Why is your hand there now instead of there? And it's like, oh, okay, he's paying attention, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, obviously the explosion of Conor on the scene, and then you had Paddy Hoolan, the other guy, like, so many guys came through together. Was that when MMA, like, there's so many people around the country, like, there's clubs springing up everywhere, people are really getting into it. It's almost like when we were younger, it was like soccer, GA, that's kind of what you do. Now they've got this avenue open to them in MMA. Like, when did this kind of really burst onto the scene?
Yeah, there just seemed to have been a big group of guys that joined at the same time. Not necessarily they weren't connected. You know, you'd Cathal Pendred and all of these guys that were in their late teens, early 20s, and were very enthusiastic. Yeah. And it's kind of funny when I look back now, it's hard for me even to imagine like why they were so enthusiastic. And what I mean by that is there was no career path. You know, like, let's say I could get someone to join my gym now, and if he's 21 and he's like a really good athlete and maybe a background in a martial art, maybe like high level wrestling or high level boxing or something, I can show him a pathway to getting to, you know, a big show and earning a lot of money. But that wasn't the case back then. You know, no, we didn't know if anything was going to come of this. Yeah. You know, no one had done it before. Tom Egan had a look, but then he lost that fight and was cut by the UFC. So it was kind of like we were all like training super hard, super intense, with no real end to this.
Yeah. No specific goal.
No real specific goal, because, you know, you'd fight, Conor would fight for a world title on Cage Warriors and be paid €500. Yeah. You know, so there was this kind of real big disconnect between an appearance of, wow, look at this guy, he's going to the top of the world. Yeah. Realistically, you can fight 3 times in the year, so that's €1,500 per year, Jesus, which is not a great salary.
He wouldn't get out of bed for that. So, you know, MMA, why do MMA? Why not play a field sport? Is it more the mental strength, or just?
I remember an interview with a guy player many years ago, and the interviewer said to him, "What's the enemy to you? Is it football? You know, soccer?" And he said, "No, it's inactivity," and that'd be for me as well. So like, as for selling MMA to a parent of a child,
it's not
I
the
would
right
just
word.
say,
Sorry, yeah, but
just get them active.
Yeah.
It's so important to be active. You know, I'm sure you've seen some of the articles going out that this generation of kids under 10, they're having trouble with the very basic physical exercises like, you know, catching a ball, running, the proper way to fall, all the things that, you know, we got climbing trees and you fall and so on. Like that now, like we get kids coming in here under 10 years of age and you're literally giving them the basics of athleticism, never mind like how to do a single leg takedown or how to throw a punch. It's how to like walk, you know, and at some level of athleticism. And
you should come down our junior B team and see we could do with you.
I guess like from kids' perspective, just getting them off the phones is probably the best thing at that age. Like to get them in, get them doing something.
Yeah, and we're really going to suffer as a nation. I mean, there's of course, which is more important. There's medical issues that come with that. But when I see like some of the Eastern European kids that come in here and training, and at like 7-8 years of age, they can climb a rope, they can swing, they can do flips. Like what's going to happen when we're trying to compete against those in 10 years time at international sport? You know, we're playing such catch up. So yeah, I would say to, like, for me, field sports weren't for me. I just didn't enjoy them. I didn't enjoy team sports. I don't know why. I loved individual sports. I liked playing table tennis, and then when I found martial arts, I really enjoyed this. I think it's a lot of it is because how you do is based on you. You know, whereas if I was playing another sport and I was putting a lot of effort in, and that guy wasn't, I'd be pretty mad.
This is just every game with Smacks. He was class, and everyone else let you down, Johnny.
It's never my fault, John. Individual sport, I'd be found out within around 3 seconds, I would say.
Did you play hurling or football or soccer? Or?
I was a goalkeeper for a season.
In which?
In what sport?
Yeah.
Soccer.
Okay,
Soccer.
cool.
Clean sheet cavo, that's what it's called. I kept a clean sheet for a year. Very proud of that. Yeah, so we just started our 6th season in Dublin now, and we've had multiple seasons in Cork, Tullamore and Belfast, and this season it's the biggest in the world. There were 69 people joined up for it.
Jesus.
And the great part of it is that it is just such a wide mix of people. You know, you've got there is some kind of like younger fit people that want to do it, and that's great, but the majority of people, it's 30s, 40s, 50s, and they just wanted to give this a go. You know, maybe it's a bit of a bucket list thing, and it's done at a sensible pace so that everybody can do it. You know, that's the whole point of it. I still get so many people like, I'd love to give it a go, but I'm just not in shape. Like, no, that's the point. The point is you join and we get you in shape.
How many days a week is it, or how much training?
So it's 100 lessons altogether.
Over how long?
It's 20 weeks of training Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. till 7:30. So by the time you step in the octagon, you've done 100 lessons.
Wow.
So that's the basics of it. But if you go to WIMP2, the number 2, wimpwarrior.com, there's so many testimonials up there, whether it's a mother of 2, whether it's a granddad. We had a grandmother do it.
Wow.
So it really is for everybody, because like I said, I try to get people early on, whether they're doing Wimp to Warrior or training with me and the regular team, is get in the habit of measuring yourself against yourself.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be somebody younger, fitter, stronger than you.
Yeah.
But maybe you can be better than you were last week. Maybe you can be better than you were last month, from a physical point of view or a mental point of view. And that's what we get into these guys. And we make sure that, obviously, on fight night, that they're matched sensibly. They're going against someone with a similar level of experience. And just so many positive stories. The physical transformations are quite obvious. The amount of weight we've had people, you know, as a team, as a group, the last season of Wimp to Warrior lost over 1/4 of a ton. As a group, over 200.
Sign me up,
kilos.
John.
And that wasn't one person. So they're the obvious ones, the physical transformation. But for me, the most exciting one is the mental transformation, the mental strength people get from getting out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning for 20 weeks.
That rules you out, lad.
You know, and then of course on fight night, stepping into the cage with 1,000 people watching.
What do you say to somebody stepping into the cage for the first time? Like, what's the mental? How do you keep them calm? Or
so you don't think about it like it's now. You know, you haven't done anything, and on Saturday night I'm going to have you walk out in front of 1,000 people.
Okay,
that'd be too much. But we have 100 lessons to get you there. So it's done step by step. So your first time stepping in the cage is going to be with a big gang of people. You know, maybe there's 20 people in the cage and you're doing a bit of sparring with your buddy.
Yeah.
So it's not as stressful.
Okay.
So I think just like with weightlifting, the whole idea of weightlifting is that it's enough weight that it causes you stress, because then your body has adaptation and you get stronger, and then you can add a bit more stress the next time. I think with the mental side of things, it's got to be the same. There's got to be enough. It's got to be tough enough that it's stressful, because if you don't have any level of stress, well, then you don't grow. So it's got to be tough enough that it's stressful. I mean, you guys have done a little bit in the cage already.
Yeah.
You know, don't want to brag, you know.
That was around a year ago. I'm still sore.
So, but basically, it's done in stages. You know, it's not going to be day one. Okay, how would you talk someone into fighting Conor this Saturday night? It's like, well, he's screwed.
$1 million.
They're screwed. What use is $1 million if you forget what money's for? You know, you're drooling in the corner, just eating it.
I fought Conor. No teeth left.
But yeah, no, I think that's deadly, and I would, like, Maura always says it's the best thing she's ever done. So I think, like,
her personal story was really moving.
Yeah.
And the sort of stuff that she told us afterwards was the whole reason. Because my whole reason for getting into martial arts at the beginning, I thought I wanted to learn how to fight. That I'd be like a kung fu movie. I'd learn these moves. I'd go down to Rat Mines one night. I'd see those 5 guys and I'd side kick them through a window, you know? and it would be great. And
take that, you hipster. Sorry, go on.
But what I realized many years later, and in my 40s, looking back at me when I was 19 or something at the time, was that what I wanted to get back was confidence.
Yeah.
My confidence had been physically beaten out of me. And that's what martial arts gave me. That's what this gave me. The ability to sit here and talk to you guys. The ability to talk to a group of people in a room. The ability to step into an octagon and have a physical fight. So the physical side of things was good, and I'm very happy with them. But I haven't been in a fight since then. You know, it's not like I'm going out every Saturday night, you know.
All right, one look, that's all it's going to take.
But what I certainly have used from my martial arts training since that day, and I use every day, is the confidence it's given me. And, you know, you guys have a certain personality that gives you the ability to do this. So you are naturally kind of extroverts and naturally confident. Maybe not. Maybe
it definitely took a lot of growing.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah. Took a while.
But a lot of people would watch you guys and go, man, I wish I had that ability just to be witty and funny and
yeah, so do we. No, but definitely is.
But you had to earn it, right? You had to go through work, and I'm sure there was days where you did it where you went, oh man, that was terrible. But you didn't quit. You just you learn from it. You said, okay, that chatting about that didn't quite work, but I'm going to learn from that. And that's how I was with the physical side of fighting. And like I said, what the more story and hundreds of stories like hers, thousands of stories like hers worldwide, is to coming back to us, pulls us aside and say, look, I'm great. I learned how to do a bit of MMA, but what it's had to give me is the confidence. I can to go for a new job, to get out of an abusive relationship, to get away from people that are, you know, what you say, the toxic people that are draining energy from you, to instead try to live a more positive life, and to feel like you're owed a more positive life, and then to know what you have to do, and then to go out and do it. And that's, to me, what MMA and what martial arts is really about. I'd be terrible at it. I'd be like, oh, hello, nice to meet you.
I always wonder that, like, if you're going to, you know, call someone out or say something, yes, it generates interest in the fight.
Yes.
But do you put pressure on yourself? But if I'm fighting Smacks and I come out and say, like, I'm going to ruin this fella, I'm going to bust him open, like, you know, I'm obviously not very good at it here. Yeah. But like, then if I lose, people are like, you idiot, like, what do you say? You know?
You know, they'll say that anyway.
Yes.
I guess. Or do you have an opinion?
Here's a funny one.
Yeah.
I remember, like, when Conor was starting to come up, and he was doing his usual thing, you know, in the build up to the fight, and my mother was like, you know, she knows Conor since he's a kid, and she was like, tell him to stop doing that. That guy's going to be so mad with him. And I was like, well, what do you think he's going to do? He's going to punch him in the face regardless. You know, he's not going to, like, give him a soft punch because he's a nice guy. He's going to go at him anyway. And she's like, I suppose so, yeah. But he'll really try now. I was like, he's probably going to really try anyway. But the only thing I would say to my fight team is, like, don't try to be something you're not.
Yeah.
Because it's very tempting. You see the incredible success Conor's had. And, you know, even when Conor's rise started happening, let's say 2015, 2016, you can see a bunch of guys in the UFC going, man, he's earning 10 times more than what we are. So let's try this. Let's get a suit.
Yeah.
Let's put on a pair of shades. Let's slag the other guy. but the audience see through it like that.
Yeah.
People are very quick to pick up on something being real or not real, and that's the only thing I'd say to my team is like, don't try to be something. If you're not that, we all, especially I think Irish people, we remember being in school with that kid at the back that just had quick fire response, and would have everybody in tears, and the teacher would try and say so, and he'd have a quick response. That was Conor.
Okay.
You know, there's no effort in it. That's just who he was. He trash talks while he's training.
Really?
He's training there today, and he's sparring a guy that's a good friend that he knows over 10 years, and he's going to start talking shit to him. That's just the way he is.
He's on all the time.
He's just on all the time. Okay. So it's just it's part of who he is. It's not. There's no show. It's not put on. That's just fun to him.
And that's so he comes in here and trains.
Yes, sir.
So he could be training while we're out here chatting, like.
He was training this morning, yeah.
And like he's not a star. You don't have to close the gym for him or anything.
Nope.
So there's other people walking around training, and Conor's in the corner, banging away.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It could be somebody doing their first day on my team, and some little amateur, and suddenly he's paired off with Conor, like, you know. And that's I've always tried to maintain that, because I want the gym to be a space for him where he's not global megastar, people harassing him for pictures and everything. That he can just come in here. You know, I envisage long after he's finished professionally competing that he still will come down and just work out and train and hang out with his buddies and do martial arts, which is what he seems to enjoy doing.
So I'm sure all the lads and ladies who are competing at Bellator are probably hoping to someday maybe get to Conor McGregor's stage. Who should we look out for on February 22nd? If you're like,
see, here's the thing, right?
So like Will Fleury's fighting. He's from Kerr.
He's from our town.
So he's from our town.
Brilliant. So I'm really looking forward to his fight.
Yeah.
He had a tough one on the last one, so this one he really wants to make a statement. He's fighting a tank. The guy is a monster, he is. I'm just glad it's Will in there, not me. I wouldn't fancy his chances at all.
Would you not get an easy one like that? I found this 55 kg lad from Wicklow.
One leg.
Wants to give it a go.
You know what? Obviously, I'm joking. But for Will does best when his back's against the wall and when he's fighting the toughest level of competition. If I got Will a fight that he looked at on paper and went, Coach, I'm going to run this guy over, he wouldn't be interested in it. Yeah. You know, I'd be like, no, let's do it. You know, it's a handy one.
You couldn't, I have a score on you.
But in all honesty, for Will rises to challenges. I think he's again, he feeds off that audience, and I can just see he's got such a strong fan base. I can see them all coming on the night to support him and get him back in the win column. He has a very tough guy in front of him, but that's a fight that's definitely going to be one to watch.
Deadly, brilliant stuff. Before we finish on, we've just got a quick fire round. We do it. God. We've done it. It's called Who'd Win in a Fight. So we've done it with Mick Conlon. So you're our second person to take this quiz.
Okay, Coach Kavanagh, who wins in a fight? Conor McGregor or Chuck Norris?
Conor McGregor.
James Kavanagh or James Patrice?
All those arm bars you showed him over the years.
I don't know who James Patrice is.
Oh, okay. Your brother's going to love that one.
I will say my brother.
Okay.
My brother's deceptively tough.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Did he ever fight?
He fought me loads of times, and he is wiry strong.
Is he?
And he's a. If you get him on the wrong mood, I wouldn't even like fighting James.
Okay. Damien Dempsey or Christy Moore?
Damien Dempsey.
Us or the Happy Pair?
Jeez, they're fit lads.
We're dirty, Dutch.
Yous are dirty, they're fit. Gun to my head, I'm going to go with the Happy Pair.
Oh! Shit! Let the trash talking begin now.
That's it.
You vegetarians are fucking trouble now.
Vegans.
Well, yeah, worse again.
We're going to meet them down. We're going to meet them down at the sea now in the morning when they're going for a swim. We'll get them.
Ryan Tubridy or Ray Darcy?
Tubridy.
He's got the height.
He's got the reach, isn't he? Yeah. I don't know if you've listened to our interview with Michael Conlon, but he said in a boxing match he'd do Conor in a round maximum 2 rounds.
2 rounds.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Would he?
No, that's silly talk. Conor went 10 rounds with Mayweather. Arguably the greatest boxer of all time.
Would he beat Mick Conlon?
My money's on Conor.
Oh,
if you set that up,
we want a 10% kickback.
Yeah, Aviva Stadium next year. Lad.
Look, why are you pitting 2 Irish guys against each other? I'm a huge Mick Conlon fan. I'm looking forward to his next fight. He's doing fantastic things. Don't be asking me questions like that.
Maybe we get a tag team.
Leo Varadkar or Michal Martin?
I'll go with Leo.
Yeah.
big fit lad.
Yeah.
Bruce Lee or a grizzly bear?
Grizzly bear.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah, they're big. They're bigger.
Bruce is dead as well, so.
Yeah. In his prime, though. In his prime.
Sorry, yes.
On that absolute bombshell. John, it's a pleasure to have you on. Thanks so much for giving your time. You're a legend.
Thanks, John.